Hello, my name is Hope Welty, and I would like to thank you for joining us in Del Campo High School's Coug Media Studio as we take the time to speak with candidates for the San Juan Unified School District's Board of Education. Each of our videos will start up with a 2-minute introduction by the candidate. Then I will ask a candidate a series of questions that our parents, staff, students, and community members submitted, and our student staff helped select. Each candidate is asked the same questions. So if you'd like to hear another candidate's response, you'll be able to in their video. Candidates have up to 2 minutes to respond to each question to make sure that we can all get in all the questions and all the candidates have equal opportunity to respond. Our district office friend, Elizabeth Zeladon, will help keep track of time and let us know if we approach the 2-minute mark. After questions, the candidate will have up to 2-minute closing statement, so be sure to watch all the way through to the end. Now let me introduce to you Jeffrey Perrine, who is running to represent Trustee Area 5. Hello, candidate Perrine. Please begin with your opening statement.
My name is Jeffrey Perrine. I'm a 38-year-old Sacramento native. I went to all the schools that I went through: elementary school, middle school, high school in the San Juan Unified School District. I have 2 children who are currently in the San Juan Unified School District, small business owner. I've lived here my entire life. I have skin in the game. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make changes to the school board in a positive way. Children need representation, families need representation, and I think as of now that's not occurring. I think the children are just being used as pawns so that people can use them for more money, and they're not actually using the money to better the children. So what I want to do is I want to bring accountability, responsibility, and logic back to our school board. I think there's been a lot of frivolous spending. We have a budget right now that's clearly, we have a lot of money and we need to invest that money into our children's future. So we need to make our children comfortable in their schools, whether that's investing in safety resource officers, whether that's giving them more air conditioning. Better environment to learn, safer environment to learn is always better. So what I want to do, more importantly than not, is just to listen to the parents and the family and actually bring what they're saying to the board and represent a diverse group of people. There's people in the school districts that are not being heard, and that's the group that I represent. I represent the unheard, the people who've been going to meetings and being ignored. So as a parent, as a member of this community, I want to better our school district. I want to represent the school district, and I want to make everybody happy with the children that we have in our community. So if you feel like that's something you agree with, please elect me. JeffreyPerrine.com is my website, and thank you for your time.
Question number 1. San Juan Unified stopped providing home-to-school transportation more than a decade ago. What can be done to help make sure that students can get to and from school safely?
Well, I mean, I was a child that lived a little bit of a way away from school, so it was difficult for me to have to ride my bike or walk to school, especially when it was raining. So I think if we can make sure that we have buses or some sort of transportation, whether we utilize Uber or Lyft or these different people that we have now, carpooling would possibly work, but I'm open for all types of ways to get children as much transportation as possible. No one should miss school because they're unable to get to school. That should be something we should help children and parents take care of.
Many families were impacted by the change to start times this school year, whether it be by lack of supervision in the morning before school or a time crunch after school trying to fit in activities. What supports did you see the district implement to help families adjust, and what else do you think could be done?
You know, that's a difficult question because I, as a parent, that's one of the major reasons why I homeschool my children, is because it was really difficult to be able to have a job and take your kids to school at these times they have, right? So when you go to school, your children need to be there usually either before you have to go to work and it's not enough time to get to work on time, or it's after you have to be at work and you're unable to get your kids there. Same thing happens at the end of the day when you can't pick your children up, so they're kind of just running around in the community. There were discovery clubs and things like that when I was in high school and junior high, and they were really helpful. I think if we could come up with some sort of club for kids to stay busy and extracurricular activities, they need to be free, or at least not free, we know they're taxpayer funded, but they at least need to be available for children. So if people can't pick up their kids until a certain time in the day, there is a responsible adult who's there to watch out for your children and give them proper instruction and make sure they're safe.
Most districts in California, including San Juan Unified, are facing declining student enrollment at their schools. Why do you think this is, and what ideas do you have to combat declining enrollment?
The answer to that is simple, in my opinion. We need to drop the vaccine mandates, the mask mandates. These kids need to be able to breathe while they're at school. There's no way that you can tell a kid to wear a mask all day long at school. The vaccines keep people at home. There's a lot of people within my community that have pulled their children because of the mandates and the requirements. And I think that if people would consider the fact that there are diverse groups of people who think differently, not everyone's the same. So if they would take into consideration that the vaccine mandates are hurting enrollment, as well as the mask mandate that occurred all of last year, I think a lot of parents are afraid the mandates are going to come back any time. So without a strong school board member who's going to stand up for those kids and make sure that the mandates don't come through and take their freedoms away again, they're going to continue to keep their kids home.
What can San Juan Unified do to provide classes that have meaning to students and learning that can be used in the real world?
I've been saying this about transformative education. We need to bring a lot more of the trades to the school, real life education. This is my problem with this equity and all this stuff with this critical race theory and all the above. We're not focusing on real life skills. We're focusing on divisive language that is actually causing children harm. When you don't feel safe at school because either you're being judged or you're being ostracized, it's hard. So I would say that we need to stop focusing on so much about equity and bring back equality and make sure everybody gets an equal education and an opportunity at that education. And then we can bring back real life skill set and teach kids how to survive in the world, like balancing checkbooks and how to make money and learn skills to be productive in the world like everybody else around the world who's coming to America now. So we need to give our kids skills and bring trades to all of the schools in the community.
What role does the Board of Education play in making sure that we have the highest quality teachers and staff to serve students and families?
This goes back to the last question. It's plain and simple. We need to hire people based on their qualifications, not their skin color or their sexual orientation or their gender, right? You don't hire someone based on any of that. We should be looking at resumes, things that they've done, prestigious awards, people who have given them shout outs or whatever, people who are giving them promotions and telling them they should move forward. We should be looking at the people that we're hiring and not just looking at their skin color and their gender, because what I'm seeing today is we're not hiring people based on qualifications. We're hiring things based on, it almost feels like affirmative action. So I think we just need to, again, focus on hiring teachers who actually have the ability to teach and not just filling quotas.
With more than $1 billion in community-supported bond funds, San Juan has been able to do a lot to improve and rebuild facilities. Do you support more bonds in the future? And how would you prioritize which schools the funds are spent at?
That's a hard one, because I'd have to take a look at all the schools. As an incoming parent and someone that doesn't have a lot of information on all of the finances and the status of all the schools, I'm only kind of aware of the schools in my community. I know there's a lot more. So what I would have to do is I'd have to send an independent team out, and I'd have to have people look at things and give us an audit and tell us who needs what and what amount of money we need to spend on those. And I think that if we can come up with an allotted amount of money to dedicate to these schools, we take care of these schools that are in dilapidated conditions, because a lot of the schools are just old and they're worn down, so they need to be given new things. But again, all schools offer different stuff, so not all schools are going to need the exact same repairs or replacement of things. So we really need to get a diverse group of people that are doing the audit so we can give those schools exactly what they need that fits the community.
What would you like to specifically see done to improve safety on school campuses?
I believe that we should have a school resource officer. When I was growing up, we had a police officer on campus all the time. We had a Sacramento sheriff. This allowed us to have a relationship with the community police. We were able to see them regularly, so it wasn't just when you encounter them during traffic stops and whatnot. It'll actually allow for the police to get a better understanding of the kids within their community. So I see a lot of schools have built fences and things to prevent people from getting in. But the problem is if a bad person gets inside of the fence, we need someone that can actually handle the situation in a mature, responsible manner. So what I would suggest we do is we either find retired law enforcement that want to come work, or veterans, people who have handled guns, people know how to handle situations that are tense and possibly dangerous, and they're not going to do something stupid like maybe an untrained teacher, right? So we need to put somebody there who's going to handle the situation in a responsible manner.
What is the single most impactful thing you can do as a board member to make sure that the district and its schools remain financially sound and have balanced budgets?
We have to stop the frivolous spending. We've done a really good job in the San Juan Unified School District of maintaining a budget. That's not something that we really have an issue with. The prior superintendent has done a really good job of maintaining a really good budget. I guess we have somebody who's there and they really know what they're doing. So I'd say we continue to support the people that have been balancing the books now. Accountability is super important, and transparency. If we're going to make any really big purchases or expenditures, we need to talk to the parents in the community, and we need to make sure that that's okay with the voters. So I'm okay with whatever the voters want, whatever the parents want.
Like many of the adults in our community, some students are struggling with their mental health and resiliency. What is the school district's role in reporting and supporting student mental health, and what would you do as a board member to make sure it happens?
We'd have to make sure that we have a mental health specialist on campus. I know growing up that there was a counselor that was available at my elementary and my middle school, so I don't know if that's something that's offered at all schools. But I know that it would be nice that if somebody's having a hard time, that they could go speak to somebody, not be judged. So what I would like to see is that we have an office or a safe place where anybody from all realms of life and all aspects and backgrounds, it doesn't matter, left, right, middle, right, you can go and you can feel like you can talk to this person and you can be open with this person. And if you need anything outside of the classroom, but I think we need to involve parents. If your child's having a mental health crisis, the worst thing that you could do is hide it from the people that they're living with. So we've moved in a different direction currently in the state of California, and we've moved our parents away from the relationship with the kids in school. And I think that's the worst thing that we've done is separate the kids from the parents. So we need to have more open communication between the school counselors and the parents and the kids, and maybe offer sit-down sessions or whatever.
Do unions have too much power in California schools?
100%. The unions have a lot of power, not just in the schools, but everywhere. So yes, unions have been highly detrimental because they can use a lot of the money that they get from the union dues to influence elections. So you're not necessarily always getting the representation of the people. You're getting the representation of major corporations and the unions. So they present it in a package that it seems like it's for the people, but ultimately the unions are the ones that are benefiting. So yes, I do believe that the unions have far too much power, and we need to give the parents that power. There should be like a parents' union or some sort of pact like that.
As students, we see acts of hate speech and bias on our campus. As a board member, what would you do to address these concerns?
First off, as a board member, I don't believe that there is such a thing as hate speech. I think there's just speech that people hate. So if people have a problem with what somebody is saying, I think that people just need to get a little bit thicker skin. If you're making an attack on somebody that makes them feel unsafe, that's a different situation. So I think that if somebody's making somebody uncomfortable in an educational situation, that is not something that we can allow for. So freedom of speech is something that I support. I don't believe hate speech is a thing, but I think that if you're saying something that's making a fellow student uncomfortable, that's something that we should address. All children deserve to learn and feel safe in school. So again, I think that comes down to upbringing, and we have to have a talk with people like we did in my era, which is we get the parents involved after warnings are given, sit downs with guidance counselors like we had in my era, and we sit down and we talk it out like we used to.
How have you seen the district listen to the voice of students? And what other ideas do you have for how student voice can be expanded?
You know, I don't know if I've really heard too much going on in the school district that was led by the students. With the whole COVID that's gone on for the last 2 or 3 years, I think that the kids have been really ignored. So I would really like to actually hear what all the students had to say, because they've been pretty much ignored for the last 2 years. So we need to really get down, and we should take a vote. I think we should seriously ask the children what it is that they need to improve themselves, because they're really the only ones that are going to know. We're outsiders looking in, so I think that the best thing that we can do is just offer them assistance and make sure that we're here for them.
Thank you, candidate Perrine. Do you have a closing statement you would like to share?
Yes. My name is Jeffrey Perrine. I'm running for school board because I believe that we have reached a point in time where the people who have been in office, they're clearly do-nothings. I'm a parent, small business owner. I never wanted to be here. I never planned on running for school board, but what's happened is there has been a complete destruction of everything that I ever known as a parent, as a community member, and as somebody who's been watching my community slowly decay. I knew that I had to stand up. Cultural Marxism is real. It's infiltrated all aspects of our life. Schools are currently indoctrination centers, and we need to make sure that our children are not just being indoctrinated to a political ideology, but they're actually being taught to be citizens of this community that will give back. Again, I as a school board member will no longer allow for children to be forced to wear masks. I will no longer force children to be vaccinated to go to the schools that I'm in. I understand there's California laws, but me as a school board member, I will assure you, I'll always vote on the side of freedom and the Constitution. So if you believe in exactly that, I, Jeffrey Perrine, will defend the freedom of our children and the family and the Constitution. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to go and watch every candidate's video, and please go out and vote.